Hey there! 3 pens! These pens were kindly sent to me by Joost Appelboom of Appelboom Pennen, and these are pretty sweet. These are 3 finishes of the Faber Castell Grip 2011. Now, I say Grip 2011 because there already was a Grip 2001. These pens have the same triangular-esque section. They come in a couple of nibs. You have fine, medium and broad, and I think what makes these most interesting is that they are pretty budget friendly. They sell for about 19.95 euros, so 20 euros. So it's not a $5 pen, but as Faber Castells go, that is pretty affordable, and they're pretty sweet pens. They have some nice things going for them. So I'm going to cover the parts of these pens. I'll do a writing sample, and then I'll tell you what I like about them and what I don't like about them. Let's get started. Okay, so here we go with the Faber Castell Grip, the 2011 model. As you can see it here, right next to a Lamy Safari, you'll see it is very similar in size, right? I don't know if that was a deliberate choice, but I think they're kind of going for an entry-level model. As you can see, they come in a bunch of colors, finishes, which is kind of neat. So let's quickly look at these pens. So they have fine, medium or broad stainless steel nibs. They have the same, as I said, triangular grip section of the 2001 model. Triangular grip sections are always a bit of a double-edged sword. Some people really love them, some people really don't. It is a 19.95 pen, that is euros, so basically 20 euros. That makes it affordable, and that's kind of interesting. Now let's look at the parts of these pens. I'm just going to take this black because I think that contrast with the white will work best, right? We have the little jousting dudes on top there, which by the way is slightly recessed, so there's a little bit of a dimple on top of the finial, which I kind of enjoy. There's a clip. The clip is pretty tight, but works well. The pen comes stickered. It says F for fine nib. It's actually a medium, so interesting. Then we have a barrel, which is studded for her pleasure, obviously, and that's interesting. These studs are actually pretty aggressive. They are. I mean, they don't hurt, but they definitely stick out quite a bit. Pen, nice section. Number 5 nib has little. Always has these little pits in them, and has a little knight on it again, Faber Castell. Plastic feed, cartridge converter filled pen. In this case there's nothing in it because I inked up the other 2. This looks like it's all plastic, so I guess you could take a shot at doing this eyedropper and see what that will do. It does post, and then it's a pretty large pen. You can also use it completely unposted, of course. Simple pens, humble pens, it's all plastic. I mean, it has the Faber Castell logo. It is a Faber Castell pen, but yeah, I mean, it is at the end of the day, of course, it is a more budget-oriented pen, I would say. Okay, so I put in the ink that came with it. Here we have the first model. This is the fine nib. And here is my issue. I don't even label things anymore. What am I doing? Dove straight in. Okay, so okay, let's put it here then. You only live once, doesn't matter, right? Faber Castell Grip. Also, these videos, what you see is what you get. There's almost no editing here, so we just keep going. Nobody looked uncomfortable, so I continued. And the ink is just the cartridge that came with it. What's my biggest issue with these pens? The nibs. They are not super smooth. I'm used to Faber Castell nibs being very, very smooth and being very, very pleasant. And I'm not saying that they are not pleasant, but these are not as smooth as I would have expected. I have used considerably smoother Faber Castell nibs in the past, so I don't know. And I know this is the fine nib, but I'm going to show you the medium nib in a second, and then see what happens. Okay, wetness, yeah, not terrible, especially for a fine. Line variation, as always, very careful, but I would say there is a bit of spring to this, which is quite nice. And then there is reverse writing, which is not a success. Pen runs dry too quickly. Now let's look at the other model, oh sorry, the other pen, which actually has a medium nib. Okay, so this would be the medium nib. This one is a little smoother, also a cartridge that came with the pen, but still, if I've used the Faber Castell Basic, I've used the Faber Castell Loom, those had such beautifully smooth nibs in medium and broad and fine, and this, there's just more feedback than I'm used to from Faber Castell, which some people would like, because some people like that feedback. But in my mind, the fun thing and the selling point on Faber Castell, even their more inexpensive pens, has always been the very smooth nibs, and I just don't really get that feeling in these pens. So that's a shame. I kind of wish that was not the case, and that these nibs would be smoother, because that would be much closer to my other experiences with the brand and their nibs. Again, very careful, but these are pretty inexpensive pens, so I'm pushing them a little harder than I otherwise would have. Quite some line variation. And this one, reverse writing, well, it's not really possible either. It doesn't work. Okay, so a kind thank you to Joost Appelboom for sending me these pens. I think we need to discuss, and I already started, what I like and what I don't like so much about these pens. Let's get to it. So, the Faber Castell grip. I realize I didn't show you the box. It's kind of a cute design with the little breather holes in there. Now, what do I like about these pens? What do I not like about these pens? I don't have a whole lot to say about them. I always think it's very important that you treat a pen for what it is. I think Faber Castell here was trying to make an entry-level pen model, and that's that. It's pretty affordable, 20 euros. I know there are cheaper pens. I know you can get $1 pens on eBay, but this is not a $1 pen on eBay. This is a Faber Castell pen. I just dropped one, but there it is. So yeah, they're not super expensive. I think they're relatively affordable, especially as fountain pens go. I mean, compare this to Graf and Faber Castell's Pen of the Year. That's a bit of a price difference. And of course, it's also a very different pen, but it's kind of fun. So I think the advantages here are, and that's something I like, it's affordable, right? It's pretty well made. They come in a bunch of finishes, which is fun. And yeah, it's cool. It's a knockabout pen. It's something you bring. If you lose it, it's okay. You can give it to a friend. That's okay. You can try to get people enthusiastic for fountain pens and give them these sorts of pens. It's all available. I mean, you can do all this stuff with it because they are not super expensive. And they have some cool features. I mean, a little bit of a, I wouldn't even really call that spring loader, but there's something going on with that clip. So, I mean, there is good eye for detail. You are buying an inexpensive pen, but it should be a quality product if it's Faber Castell, and I think that is the case here. My biggest two issues are, yes, it is an inexpensive pen. To be honest, it also feels a little inexpensive. This does not feel like a super solid pen. I mean, here I have a Kaweco Special, it's all brass. It's 95 euros, but this feels like a solid pen. This feels that, like, you know, if I stand on it, it will crack for sure. Now, it's plastic, so what can you expect, right? I'm just trying to be realistic. Don't expect to get something that feels very luxurious. To be honest, I think even a Lamy Safari feels a bit more luxurious than this pen does. It is a plasticky feel. And every time I say that, someone gets upset and says, well, what do you expect for a plastic pen? Yes, I understand that, but there's plastic and plastic. Again, the ABS plastic in the Lamy Safari, oh, I just dropped it. Yeah, this is what happens. It feels different. It feels different. This is a very, in my mind, a pretty cheap feel. Now, there's nothing wrong with that because you also don't spend that much on it. So again, you have to be realistic. My biggest issue is the nibs. There's nothing wrong with the nibs. They write properly, but I'm used to Faber Castell putting out super smooth, pleasant nibs. And that's not these nibs. They are okay. And they're not super smooth. And if you look at the other affordable models they had, the Basic and the Loom, they were just very pleasant and were smoother. So I'm a little disappointed. I don't know what it is. These nibs also look a little different in shape in my mind. The feed looks a little different. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I have actually tried a couple of these, more than these. I tried them in a shop too, and I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Nothing wrong with the nibs, They write very nicely, but they don't write as nicely as a loom or a basic nib. And that's a shame, because those were just so lovely. I think that's a bit of a pity. But anyway, there you have it. I don't have much else to say about it. Thank you, Joost, for sending me these pens. I appreciate it. I hope this was useful, and I'll gladly see you later. Bye-bye.